All right, it's 7 o'clock. Roll call and call to order. Looks like everybody's here. If you'll bow your heads for a word of prayer, please. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening. Please be with us as we go through this school year, as we look at the different things that are going on in our school, the things we are blessed with, Lord. Please guide us as we go forward. In your name we pray. Amen.
I didn't get that. I don't know.
Public participation. We have none.
No.
No public.
All right, honors and recognition.
You know, we don't have anybody here, but I would really like to recognize the people that helped us clean off the parking lots. Sean Scamahorn's group came in and helped, and Jeremy down at the Flower Lounge came and helped us. And then Bobby and Eric, they stuck it out till the end. We got done 6 o'clock Tuesday night before we had school on Wednesday. And I'd also like to recognize the parents, the basketball parents group. We've had more emails back on the quality of the hospitality room at the basketball tournament, and they were so flexible because we were moving that thing around constantly. It was not a whole lot of fun for them, and the administrators that we worked with on trying to get all the games played. It was pretty phenomenal. It was good effort on everybody's part.
Yeah, tough week with the weather and all the games and stuff. So, all right, discussion and possible action on minutes of the January 5th, 2026 regular board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on the following general fund encumbrances: accounts payable 1532 through 1590, payroll 7412 through 7415, co-op fund encumbrances, accounts payable 1208 through 1209, building fund encumbrances, accounts payable 2157 through 2159, change orders, listings in general, co-op, and building fund, the treasury report, and the activity fund custodians report.
Okay, well, as we go through this is kind of the month we've been waiting to talk about all year, and it did not disappoint. What we're seeing right now as we go through the actual encumbrances, we have $321,000 worth of encumbrances in general fund. Co-op has $9,372, and the building fund has $20,131. We had to do some work on the security systems at the queue. We've got some of the things that we approved last month. As you go down through here, there's really not a whole lot that we're seeing that's different than what we've been looking at. I would like to point down to 1553 North Carolina Farms. That is expenses for horticulture for the ag ed. 1554 as well. And then we have some special ed stuff for dyslexia. And then as you go, a lot of our expenses are coming out of Rising Stars and out of the grant funds. 1565 is vaping, smoking, sensory stuff, so that we can make sure we have a better handle on the vape detectors in the schools. Somehow or another, they haven't been working exactly right, and we need, state law requires that. Then we come on down and get to 1583. If you go by Gilmore, that's mulch for the playground. We put that in after we put the new swing sets in, and those really turned out well. Ms. Tollefson really picked well. The activity fund, the Gilmore Activity Fund paid for that. And then we've got skid steer removal of snow from Walter Building Centers, and plumbing parts for the Gilmore sewer system, which was 1968 worth of caps to go on the cleanouts, and we spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what was happening with the Gilmore sewage system, and We finally got lucky and found it about right before the cold front came in, and it was a bunch of wet wipes that we've asked people not to flush. Over on 1119, that's the Ag Ed bathroom walls and flooring from Miracle Method. That's on page 6. We've been moving some of our transportation stuff over into the building fund to try to save it out of the general fund. And supplies for fencing at Gilmore Playground, that was to fix a fence that had come apart. We were gonna have another one of those next month because somebody ran into the fence over at the Q over the weekend. So we've gotta go figure out how to fix that. And as we go on through, there's change orders that, people changing parts of their payroll. And we go on over to the number, page 9, that's encumbrance for the co-op fund. That's Lakeshore Learning and Bethany Public Schools. We have to do those with professional contract services. Other than that, it's pretty normal type activities. Whenever we get over to page 13, you'll start seeing the treasurer's report. And as always, Pam does a really, really good job of that. We brought in $5,410,504.40 in total, in our total revenue for our ad valorem collections. And then our state funds were really up this month, $826,000, but that was because we got such a huge amount of gross production. As we go over to the page 15, we're looking at all funds. These are net total for the year, EOM cash balance. Our cash balance right now is $6,651,000. Whenever we go over to the, is my clicker set? Oh, there it is. I found it. Moved it around while we were sitting here. If you look at the revenue trends, that's where we're at on the big sheets. We are actually $1,048,307.80 ahead of where we were this time last year. And that is all attributable to a combination of federal funds and ad valorem collection in general fund. Since Mr. Kuykendall is here tonight, we will give him some credit for, whenever we reduced our amount of appropriation for gross production down on 3110, we're seeing that we've already over collected by $89,036.88. We're actually collecting at 105% of what we were expecting to collect. That's a good thing. The bad news there is we're under collecting on gross production about $173,000 and some change. Foundation incentive aid were $1,879.83 more than the same time last year, but that is because we got such a huge amount of midterm adjustment last year whenever they dropped our ad valorem. Most of our revenue losses are in the balance forward. We're looking at $2.8 million less in the balance forward from last year, which is troublesome. But we do think the new year revenue will accelerate going forward depending on what gross production does, and who knows. There's so many different things going on, you don't know who's going to talk about what next. We are starting to look a little less fragile. We're looking more healthy, and that is a good thing. Whenever you look at our expenses on the next page, And I cut this down from 3 pages to 2 pages tonight because the month speaks for itself. We are running $711,000 less than we were this time last year. And we should continue moving forward at that rate. One thing that is catching us is supplies, and we've had to buy a lot of supplies as far as electronic equipment, like for the vape stuff, and that our supplies are mostly coming through either technology or they're coming through custodial supplies, or they're coming from paper. For some reason, we have burned through a lot of paper this year, and I think it's because of the consumables that we're using whenever we're trying to move kids around towards more paper pencil type stuff. But we're sitting right at $500,000 below where we were this time last year on salary and burdens. And that's pretty fantastic. We're moving towards where our goal is going to be. And we haven't really, we'll see. The big thing that's going to affect us is going to be gross production. If gross production collects out and begins to really collect at a higher rate, then that'll be great. Activity funds are all doing extremely well. The girls' basketball is very healthy. Boys' basketball is sitting about 9,000. The athletic director's AD fund has been sitting consistently somewhere between 32,000 and 34,000 over on page 21. And concessions, we're moving those out as quick as we can, but we're still selling a ton of ice cream, just a ton. I can't, yeah, it's pretty cool. And we're starting to spend some down in the PTO accounts and in the elementary and in Gilmore, and the grade funds are coming down as well. But we've got to make sure that as we move forward that we're watching what we're doing there, because those are things that we get extras for our kids. So right now we've got a net mid-year balance of $841,887.10 in our actual activity funds. And that's the finance report.
Any questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve item E 1 through 6.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Item F, discussion and possible action to approve Kingfisher Public Schools 23-24 financial audit as prepared by Britton, Kirkendall, and
It should
Miller.
be
24, 25.
That's what I thought. It should be 24-25.
Yes.
Don't say I brought the wrong one.
I'm reading it going, that can't be right, but anyway. As prepared by Britton, Kirkendall, and Miller CPAs, 2024-25.
Appreciate the board having us back this year. Everything went well, everyone cooperated, and we got through it. And the report you have in front of you will be for the year ended June 30th of 2025. Briefly, Schedule 1 is a summary of all of the assets and liabilities of the school district, broken down between the general operating account, the special revenue, which that's a combination of the building, child nutrition, insurance, and co-op. And then the debt service, of course, is our sinking fund. Capital projects or any new funding as far as bond issues and so forth. And then fiduciary is the activity account. You can see there whenever the total assets of a little over $1 million for the general fund, less our outstanding warrants and encumbrances. $563,000, leaving an ending fund balance of $464, which is down substantially from the previous year. Then on the special revenues, you can see under the fund equities, the breakdown between building, child nutrition, co-op, and insurance fund. Combination of all of those, fund balances of 312, and I do have a schedule subsequent that breaks them down. Debt service, that is our sinking fund. In the fund at the time was $1,982,561. Capital outlay, we did have one payment of $67,000 coming for the capital projects during the year. Schedule 2 is how we got to those ending fund balances from last year. You see there the revenues, the general, broken down by local, intermediate, state, and federal. Of course, the local is primarily our ad valorem tax and miscellaneous reimbursements and so forth. You see there, our local is $3,246,000. Excuse me. Like I said, the majority of that is ad valorem tax. Our ad valorem tax compared to last year is down just over $2 million. So that figure there for local, last year was just over $5 million. Our ad valorem is basically our 4 mil levy and county apportionment, and 882,000. State source, that is the gross production, the different revenues like vehicle license and other taxes like farm implement and vehicle and so forth. Total there of $8,725,000, and that is because of, well, actually it's about a break even, but the major item in there was our ad valorem was down a little over $900,000 over the previous year, and the majority of the offset came from state aid and state programs, so that the state sources were only down about $56,000. And then the federal, $1,185,000, that is down about $300,000 over the previous year. So our total collections of $14 million is about $2.5 million less than last year. So we operated significantly less revenue than what we had the year before. And then you can see the breakdown on the expenditures between instruction, support, and non-support of $16,966,000. Last year that was just over $22 million. So we spent about $5 million less than what we spent last year. But even at that, you can see we still spent just under $3 million less than what we took in for the year. So that depleted our fund balance from $3.3 million to $464,000. Special revenues, Schedule 3, I'm not going to go through it. That is simply comparing what was budgeted originally with what actual ended up being. That shows the State Department that we did not exceed our appropriations according to the budget. And then real quick, I'll go over the special revenue accounts. Like I said, that they're in like Schedule 4, and they are after the board notes to the financial building fund, child nutrition, co-op, and insurance. Schedule 4 shows the asset and the fund balance, same as what's reported on their balance sheet on Schedule 1. And then Schedule 5 is the same as what we looked at on Schedule 2, the different revenues and expenditures. The revenues on the building fund, $740,000. Local, which like I said, primarily is ad valorem tax, because the building fund doesn't get much of the revenue. And in the building fund, there was not that much difference in their total revenues. It was actually about 16,000 more than last year. We did spend more out of the building fund than last year, about 122,000. So you can see there we spent 37,000 more than what we took in for the year. And we started with 706,000, so that's the ending balance of 272. Child nutrition, revenues of 517,000, expenditures of 548. So we spent about 30,000 more than what we took in the child nutrition fund. Started 57 and ended up at 27. The co-op funds, collections of 495, spent 498, so we, about 2,900 spent more than what we took in. We did lapse some encumbrances that we had set up that we did not use, so that our decrease was only 2,300. So went from 4,000 to 1,600. In the insurance fund, there was no activity in it, so fund balance ended the same as what it started with. Again, Schedule 6 is just a comparison of our original budgets compared to our actual. Again, it shows that the school did not exceed its appropriations for the year. Schedule 7 and 8 is just on the bond sale proceeds, which we received 67,000 and hadn't spent any of that. Schedule 10 is the activity account, shows the various activity accounts, and you see we have several activity accounts. Beginning of the year, the balance was 659, collected a little over 746,000, spent 742, so we ended up with 680,000 in the activity account. Schedule 12, that's just a schedule of federal awards, different federal programs, what was approved, how much we received, how much we spent, and how much we still have due us on some programs. A lot of times where claims will get in after June 30th, and we won't collect them until the next fiscal year. But that is, and since we had over 750,000 of federal program expenditures, then that this is a required schedule for the federal, and that's why it's in there as a separate item. Overall, I think the audit went well. We did have a couple of comments, and most of the time comments are just things that needs to be looked at and more controls put in place. A lot of times they're just simple mistakes that we just keep reminding the school, so that just keep trying to reinforce all of our procedures. Most of the time procedures are in place to catch these items, but sometimes whether we get lax or we just make a mistake, we have a few. So on the number 1, you should have a separate management letter in there. The first one, expenditures, we had some that were paid out of the current year that were actually prior year expenditures. That's something that controls just need to be enforced, so that, make sure all of our vendors, make sure that they get us all of our bills or have encumbrances for everything before the end of the year. The second one is just, this is just a documentation item. The purchase order is made out to the credit card company rather than to the specific vendor. And that's just a control item also. The third one has to do with IRS requirements for sending 1099s to individuals that are not employees, that we just have to be sure. And that's an item, as many vendors as you deal with, that sometimes they get missed, so we just have to continue to upgrade our internal controls. And the last one, there was actually an account at the bank that everything was being spent correctly and everything was okay. It just didn't show up on the OCAS report, which goes to the state. So that had to be changed over to where it's being incorporated into the OCAS information. And so those are items we just thought needed eyes looked at them again, put more controls on them, make sure we cover everything, so it doesn't lead to any possibilities. So overall, of course, we took a big hit in our general fund, but overall, I think everything's looking better. And as far as we're concerned, we think this is a accurate report of where we stand as of June 30th of 25.
All right. Anybody have any comments or questions or anything?
I did provide you with the comment sheet, the concerns.
In the very back of that too. In the back of the one he gave us too.
And I sent that to Mr. Cockendall this afternoon, but it has the responses.
Okay.
And we do include the responses with the audit report as well as the audit acknowledgement form that you'll sign stating that you received a report in open session. We'll download those, forward them back to the school, and then they will forward them on to the state.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item F. I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. G, discussion possible action to approve a fundraiser for boys soccer.
Yeah, this would be an electronic donation-based fundraiser. Though donors have option to buy snacks, but the majority is a text, email donation, and it'd go from February 6th through the 13th.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. H, superintendent report.
During the storm, we had 3 issues that were due to the weather. We've got to replace the concession stand ceiling because we had a pipe burst over there in the concession stand. And then we had a couple of issues over at the queue with some cold air, and we're continuing to work with Train on getting a couple of units over there. We've got 3 units that one needs a compressor, and we're getting a price because we're afraid we're going to have to replace 2 of those units, which is not going to be fun. And then we had an issue. Didn't we have an issue over at Heritage?
We did in the gym.
Yes, we had a heater issue, but we didn't have anything freeze. They just weren't running right. So, Ms. Tollefson, do you want to?
Our students had such a great time attending the Kingfisher Buckle of the Wheat Belt basketball tournament a couple weeks ago. That was great fun to go to that. We celebrated the 100th day of school on January 23rd with lots of fun, 100-day activities, learning activities, and fun too. And then, like Mr. Evans said, our swing sets and mulch project is finally complete. We're hoping that we can get out there this week sometime to actually get to enjoy it. It's been a long time coming. Those swings were very old, and we're really excited about that. Next week, we're having Random Acts of Kindness Week. Our school counselor, Ms. Rother, set special days, themes for each day to celebrate kindness. Monday is Manners Monday, Thank You Tuesday, What Can I Do to Help Wednesday, Thoughtful Thursday, and Friendly Friday. So we'll do lots of kindness things next week just to remind everyone to be kind. And then we will also have Valentine's class parties next week. So we've got a lot going on. And that's it for Gilmore.
At Heritage, on Friday, we had Jacket Roundup. We celebrated kids for December and January that were Student of the Month, that were Math Masters, for subtraction, addition, multiplication. So it was big. We had lots of kiddos. They've been working hard. So we had that. We had lots of parents that came up and celebrated with their kiddos. Moving through this month, we do have a second grade program that's coming up on the 12th. We have our Autism Network that will be here on the evening of the 12th, and so that's for parents, anyone. It doesn't have to be a parent of a student. It can be for anyone that's just wanting to know more about autism. That'll be at the auditorium at Heritage. We have Spring Pictures. I guess that's a couple days before on the 10th. I want to give a shout out. We had Tinley Jones won, not exactly sure, it was a championship at one of the wrestling tournaments that she went to this past weekend, and she is quite the wrestler. So I'm pretty proud of her and all that she's accomplished. We are continuing with test prep. So testing will be in April, and so we're just continuing with our third graders. We've been, of course, doing our benchmark and all of those things, but we're just continuing now to do the test prep. So that's a big thing for us. We have babies coming. So we have Miss Waltman is scheduled for a C-section on the 10th. So we'll have a baby on the 10th. And then Morgan Falkowski is due on the 13th. She told me that she's going to be up walking in the gym. If you know Morgan, that's how she's going to be. She's stubborn and she's going to be walking. I said, please, not on my duty. But so we've got a couple babies coming. So we're excited. They're both boys. So we had a shower and celebrated that. On the daycare, we're moving along, just trying to get that going. We've got, as I said, lots of babies coming, so we've got to have more room. And I think that's it. I think that's it for Heritage.
Okay, at the Q, back on January 16th, we had 2 members of the Oklahoma Philharmonic come and do a program for the kids, and it was really neat. One played the bass and one played the violin, and the kids really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. On this, we pushed back our January celebrations to this Friday. We normally do them at the end of January, but because of the short week and the weather, we pushed them to this Friday. So we'll do celebrate our kids that made Q Cafe Student of the Month, and then we'll also announce our Teacher of the Year. The Kingfisher County Livestock Show is February 8th through the 10th, and we have some Q students showing in that. And then on February 19th, Miss Kewen is going to take her tag girls to OSU for Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. And so we've got lots of stuff coming up. So that's it for me.
Okay, at the junior high, well, Miss Owens had a bandathon at the Q on Friday night. She said she had about 75 5th through 8th graders participate in that. That's her big fundraiser, and she raised close to $10,000. Wow. So yeah.
She said it's always big.
We've got a busy week this week with between the high school and the junior high. Mr. Connell couldn't be here today. He's not feeling well, so Tomorrow, we have Weatherford at home. On Thursday, this is for the high school, is homecoming against Community Christian. Friday is at Clinton. Then February 9th is the junior high's last basketball game against Blanchard, and they'll be here at home. We did have to, because of the weather at the junior high, cancel our field trip to ground control, so we're going to look at when would be a good time to make that up. And then the Buckle the Wheat Belt, I thought went really well, considering the weather, and worked well with the schools to finish all those games and get them played. So I thought Mr. Connell, Coach Connell, and Coach Young did a really good job with that. So that's all I've got.
When's wrestling homecoming?
I'll have to look and see.
Next Tuesday, I believe.
Next
Is
Tuesday?
it?
Yeah. Oh, it's this Tuesday?
Oh, it's
Okay.
this
Oh,
Tuesday.
okay. They might be, okay, they are
Yeah,
setting
that's
it
right, because
tonight. That's
they
right,
told me
yeah.
that they have-
It's at Heritage.
Yeah, it'll be at here.
That's right.
And didn't all the all-state music, didn't all that get canceled?
No,
Oh, it didn't? Okay.
no, but it got sped up tremendously. That's why I sent y'all that message, because it was really, they were on Channel 9 saying, well, we don't speed up for weather. Well, evidently they were wrong. But because they were supposed to spend the night over there Friday night,
Yeah.
and they got them back, and, you know, we were really fortunate. We got everybody in and out Friday morning, so we had all that going.
I know there were some changes in it. I know for those kids that work so hard,
They did get to participate.
good. Good. Anything else, Mr. Evans?
No.
All right, I propose executive session for discussion the employment and compensation of the following positions for the 2026-27 school year, the disclosure of which discussion would violate confidentiality requirements of state or federal law as authorized by 25 OS 307B1, employment. I hear a vote to go into executive session.
make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We're in executive session at 7:37. Six, the Kingfisher Board of Education made an executive session on February 2nd, 2026. The board members consisting of Charles Walker, Dana Goldbeck, Bill Wrights, Brad Whitrock, and Mike Copeland. We entered into executive session at 7:37 and returned to open session at 9:07. The matters that's listed on the board agenda were considered in the executive session, and no other matters were discussed. No board action was taken in the executive session. We are on J, resignations.
I have none.
Have none. K, approval of hours of day calendar for the school year 2026, 2027.
Could I suggest that the teachers, of the calendars presented, the teachers, chose the option 168 days. But, to make the calendar more comparable to districts around us, could I suggest that we take October 19th of 2026 and add that as a day out? And then we'll remove the snow days because we were working with two different calendars to try to get ready for the 175 days if we have to have that. Those are supposed to be days out. So when we publish the calendar, there won't be snow days on the 168-day calendar.
Okay?
I so move.
I second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passed. Discussion and action on the employment of principals, assistant principals, and instructional coaches as listed on addendum A.
I would like to recommend that we approve the hiring of the principals on addendum A.
So move. I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. M, discussion action on employment of the central office staff for fiscal year 2027 on addendum B.
I'd like to recommend addendum that we employ all employees on addendum B.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. N, discussion and action on the employment of high school principal secretary and Little Stingers daycare position on addendum C.
Okay, we have, I would like to recommend that we employ Sierra Swallow and as high school secretary and Haley Cross for Little Stinger on addendum C.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. O, discussion action to authorize studying interpreter extra duty.
We're looking at, we're having to use some of our secretaries, particularly at Heritage and at Gilmore, as interpreters for our, for Hispanic students. And they're really not doing secretary duty when they're doing that, they're doing interpreter duty. So we're going to have them keep a log, and we'll come back with you for a price per hour on that, so we can make sure their pay is appropriate.
Okay.
So I need you to.
So you're basically
authorize us to-
making a scale for that
Yes,
to match up with.
yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I so move.
Second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. P, discussion action on the opening of the position for Kingfisher High School principal for fiscal year 2027-28.
I really wanna tell Mr. Ferris, thank you, because he's really helped us through this position over the past year and a half. And he has done an excellent job, but we really we're working him pretty hard, and we need to go to a principal within that building. So and the teachers that I've visited with have indicated that, and the junior high teachers that I've visited with as well would like to have a principal in their building. So I'm recommending that we open the position for Kingfisher High School principal for FY 2027.
And this, if we vote on this, this would all be posted to all the sites this week?
Yes, yes.
I so move.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Discussion possible action on the opening of 3 special education teachers, instructional coach, and band assistant for the 2026-27 school year.
We are woefully behind on special ed teachers. We need more. Part of our grant with the Indian Ed grant requires to have another instructional coach. We'll either determine if it's gonna be math or if it'll be a primary, secondary type thing. And then a band assistant, because Ms. Owen meets herself coming and going. And just one further thing, we're setting minus, we have basically absorbed somewhere between 3 and 4 jobs since we did the RIF last December. And these positions, along with the high school principal, would put us at 1 over what we absorbed.
So 1 over what we had after the RIF.
Yes. Yes. It would, instead of having 21,
20.
we'd be at 20.
20.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve item Q.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. R, new business.
I would like to request that we open a position for a science teacher at the high school as well.
Do I hear a motion?
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Any announcements?
We have the, Ms. Kewen will really be angry at me if I don't remember to tell you about this, but we will be having, this Saturday, we have a huge, robot, meet down in the APB. I would really recommend that people come by and see it. Our kids are really good at robotics, and we really need to support them.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Miss Dana?
Good. Oh, it's my turn. Oh, sorry. Yes, I make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We're adjourned at
I have
9:14.
one job and I forget it.